Hello, for the next part of this tutorial, I will now be uh, building or assembling this entire character rig. So I'm going to start first with the head, more specifically the eye. Okay, so I have here the eye composite. So I have here all the drawings needed for the eye. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to create individual pegs, Control Shift P. So just press Control Shift P to create individual pegs, and then I will be creating a master peg for the entire thing. Okay, I will be renaming this as I master dash P. This is the master peg for the I. Next, I will be adding more master pegs to control parts that are technically moving together. So for example, I have here the iris and the pupil. So with the use of this peg, I will be able to control both at the same time. So let's call this iris master. Master dash P. And lastly, I'll be creating another peg to control the eyeball and the iris. So that I will be able to move this entire thing at the same time. So with this one, I'm going to call it eyeball master peg dash P. That's it. So with this kind of peg hierarchy, the first thing that you need to adjust is the pivot location. So by default, when you create a peg, its default pivot location is always at the center of the camera, right here. So to adjust it, I'll be selecting the entire peg hierarchy, and it will be using this tool called rotate. I'll just move it here in the eye, let's say here at the base, and then adjust it one by one. So eyebrow first. I put it here at the center, that's here at the side. There you go. Pupil. I'm going to put it here at the base to allow squashing and stretching. The iris and the iris master will have the same peg, same pivot, since they both control the iris around there. And finally, these three pegs, the eye master, eyeball master, and eyeball, will have the same pivot location since they can all control the eyeball. There you go. Okay, so now that we're done with the eye, the next thing that I'm going to do is to add masking. I want to be able to mask this pupil inside the iris. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to create a composite to combine them. Then from there, I will provide the cutter. Okay. So you have to remember that we have a different color for the line art of the iris and the pupil. So we have to make sure to separate the line and the color from here. Oops. Okay. So let me check first if these filters are working. There you go. Line is working. And the color art is working as well. So if ever there's these filters are not working, the first thing that you need to check is the drawing view. So just make sure that you have separated the line and the color. Okay, so going back here, I'll be attaching the line art and the color art. Just have to make sure that the line is always on top of the pupil. So you can do it by repositioning the connection to the leftmost. There you go. So if I move this, the line art will always be on top. And finally, I will attach a cutter and set the color art as mask. So color art, matte, and then invert. There you go. Okay, so I will be renaming this new composite right here as the iris comp. So with that same idea, or with that same logic, I will be masking the entire pupil, I mean the entire iris inside the eyeball. So same thing, I'm going to create a composite. I'm going to call this the eyeball comp. Then from there, I'll be getting this art layers, line, color. Just make sure that the liner is on top of the iris comp. There you go. And then finally, place a cutter, then set the color art as matte. Then we invert. There you go. So if I move the entire eyeball the entire iris master, it will now be masked inside the eye. Okay. Next, to add more functionality to our rig, I want to create a mask for the eyebrow. Okay. So for this one, I will be needing the art layers. So I'm going to place the mask in the underlay. So I'm just going to be creating a shape that will allow me to cover the eye. Maybe something like this. There you go. And then I'll just be applying the color. There. So if you're going to recall, in our previous videos, we created a color for the mask as one. So this green part. Okay, so I place the mask at the underlay. So let's just take note of that. Okay, so this is what will happen. I want to cut the eyeball comp using that green mask right there. So cutter, I want to cut or to mask the eyeball comp. So mask it with what? Mask it with the green part. So that green part is contained in the underlay. So definitely, I need to get an underlay layer. The next, I don't want that green part to be displayed. So I need a layer selector. So this layer selector allows me to display multiple art layers at the same time. So right now, by default, it's displaying line and color. So if I connect it to the eyebrow, the green or the mask will disappear. So what I'm going to do, extract that underlay, and that underlay will now be set as mask. There you go. So if I move this down, it will look like this. And that's how you create the rig for the eye.